My name is Paul Kiely here. We're just outside Dungarvan here in County Waterford, where we run Hunters Lodge stables along with my family and my wife. The majority of what we do would be breaking, pre-training, and the point of pointers would be the next busiest thing then, I suppose. And then, as I said, the small few we'd have for the track. Mum and Dad are very good to us. We always had ponies, loads of ponies. Done a lot of show jumping, hunting, hunter trials, fun rides, all that crack. Had a real good pony, had a couple of real good ponies. Kevin, brother, had a pony called Lonesome Dove. She went to Dublin. I think she was on European teams, and I had a pony called the Mighty Patch. Was the same. I went to Dublin on my last year on ponies, and he went on to do very well as a European pony as well, and jumped all around the world, I'd say, at this stage. But just kind of stemmed from there, then got more interested in, say, when I finished riding ponies, shows up when I was 16, got more interested in the thoroughbred side of it. Kind of, well, Tom and Richie more or less kind of talked to me that I should get my licence and give it a go, and just as well I listened to them, I did, I enjoyed it. Didn't last maybe as long as I wanted it. I had a bit of luck, I suppose. Only rode for a couple of seasons, rode 6 winners, rode 3 of them in one day in Strabley. Shortly after that then got a bad fall in Kilbeggan and crushed 2 vertebrae in my back. Had to have a fairly serious operation and learn to walk again, and came home in a Zimmer frame, and I suppose I was laid up for a while, but I did make my mind up fairly quick that I was going to give this a go, because it was always, as I said, it was always down the line, but I thought maybe another 10 or 15 years down the line, not when I was 19, 20 years of age. Myself and Dad bought a mare, a little mountain high mare called Inchiquin High. She turned out to be pretty good. She won 4 points and she won a bumper. She was second in 3 bumpers, won a bumper, and was second over hers, and we actually sold her then. But just, I suppose, we built a lot on here then. Like started building stables. I built 5 stables initially, just a lane. Then we put in a walker. Then we took a big plunge and put in a gallop. Then we built another maybe 6 or 7 stables. Only for Mum and Dad, I wouldn't have this place. I wouldn't. It's one thing I can't. I take my hat off to anyone renting the yard or doing that. I don't know how they do it, because, as I said, this is a family yard, and it still can be tough going at times. I don't know how lads renting yards do it, but I take my hats off to them. It is hard work. We have 2 furlong stand gallop, deep stand gallop. Billy Bates' stand. Couldn't recommend it highly enough. Since the day we put it in, it's been no bother. Ride's very consistent. The drainage on it seems to be second to none. It just, for some reason, like other stands, seem to pan. Like whatever's in Billy's stand, it just does not pan. It never had any hassle with it. We've topped it up a couple times since we put it in, but that's probably our main thing. We have a full-size stand ring with an easy fix hurdle and another small fence at the other side. Do a lot of our jumping there. We have a horse walker. We have probably the guts of 30 stables there. If I was to pick anything that we do differently, it probably would be the road work mainly. We do a lot of slow work when I'm starting off, especially the 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. Do a lot of the hill work. We're just lucky to have the hill and the forest. We do a lot of slow hill work, trotting and cantering and messing around. I think it does stand to them. Like, they do just seem to put up a great top line. And we try to get everything out in the field as much as possible when the weather allows us. Like, just to have an old buck around, it just keeps their head. I find they're just a lot happier in themselves. Like, you know, the young horse, when you lock them up the whole time, they just seem to get a bit stressy and start running about things. Whereas if they're out for a couple of hours every day, it just seems to be happier, more relaxed in their stables when they do come in and grow better. But usually we use John Kiely's a nice, but he's very good to us. He leaves us use the gallop the whole time, anytime we want. He's very obliging. We use Boulta's only maybe 40 minutes away. We use that an awful lot too for school and horses. And Matt and his Jor are very good as well. They're a pleasure to deal with. And Curramore is the same. It's maybe 30-40 minutes away. We use that as well. We're kind of very central. That we're lucky. We're kind of surrounded by good facilities, and they all leave us use them. So it's a big benefit. I suppose the only thing I would like to emphasise is that any horse that we would get her for breaking or pre-training, that the people that own him wouldn't feel that they'd have to leave him here maybe to be trained here by us. Like, it doesn't bother me if the horses like go wherever they want to go. Like, I'd just be very thankful to get him for the breaking or the pre-training. Finished up in school and went to Vinnie Halley's. I think I finished school on the Thursdays and Vinnie's on the Friday or something ridiculous like that, but Was in Vinnie Halley's for a short time, got going there, gave Vinnie a hand riding out, but there's a job came up in Philip Fenton's then, Richie was down there at the time, and I went with that, went down to Phillips. I was down Phillips for a good couple of years, learned a lot down there now. Jesus, had great horse at the time now, Lesson Storm and Painteree, Dungarvan was there at the time, Kilflora, there was a couple of great horses down there. Learned a lot down there now, riding work, like Brian O'Connell would have been there at the time, Richie was there, just would have had good horses and good riders. Actually went to Peter Bones for a summer then, and came back and got a phone call from John Kiely. He's only 5 minutes in the road. I went to John when I was young, still in school on Saturdays and things like that, and he asked me to come in and school a horse. I went in there and schooled him and kind of asked me to come back and stayed there, I think, for a long time after. I was in John's for maybe the guts of 7 or 8 years until I got to fall. Privileged to be in there. Like, it's a place that a lot of young people should go, maybe years like that, to learn a bit, go there full time and learn a bit. I think young lads are too quick now to be kind of maybe darting from yard to yard a bit. I think they'd be better off, some of the younger riders. I know I'll get slated for this now probably, but they'd want to be based in a bigger yard for a while, I think, and kind of get a better grounding. Like, they're kind of, I know everyone is stuck for staff now and they're darting here, there and everywhere, but I think it was the best thing ever happened to me was going full time in Phillips, I think, at the time, because I was young, I had much experience with race horses, but learnt an awful lot. They're done an awful lot of riding work, schooling. It's like the whole family's involved, and Rachel does most of the paperwork and all that, because I'd be useless at it, but father, like, usually does most of the feeding and haying and that, and he does the gallop. Tom gives me a hand riding out, and Tom's also a farrier. He shoes all the horses here. Richie rides jockeys, he rides all the Pint of Pints. Any horse that runs in a bumper or a Pint of Pints, and he's rode a couple of them over hurdles and fences for us as well. We have a nice team. We're trying to build it up. I suppose, to be honest, we're trying to get into maybe a better type of horse, but in order to do that, we kind of have to, we have to maybe we're selling I suppose, at the end of the day. Anything here that runs well in a Pint of Pint or a bumper or whatever they decide to run in, I suppose, to be honest, they are for sale. Like, anything that we'd have ourselves would be sold, but going forward, I suppose that's the only thing I would say. We have the nicest bunch of horses I'd say we might have ever had, but that's the way we're trying to do it. We're trying to improve the horse, maybe a little bit, maybe better stock, but it's not so easy now to sales, because it's tough up there now to get the ones you want. Everyone wants them, and there's the Pint of Pint market at the minute is just very, very, very strong.